it's Tana. Welcome back to the channel and another video for the Scrappy Tales Crafts. So here I'm showing you, some of this is from the new release, some of this is from a previous release like the pop-up shadow book. It's my first time using it on my channel, but it's not from this release. And then we have the Christmas tree layering stamp and this mini box. I have to get the proper name for that and put it up on the screen for you. And the little stamp set that comes with that. And then that first small stamp set was, I believe, an incentive stamp, Countdown to Christmas. And I have pre-cut my storybook pieces here, so I'm showing you what I cut out of the Christmas book add-on, which is new to this release, and then the pieces that I cut out from the original die set. So you need 4 of the accordion pieces and 2 of the covers, front and back. And now I'm cutting these. She has on the website where you should be cutting them down for an A7, I believe, a 5x7 card. I cut them a little bit smaller because I wanted them to fit totally inside the cover of the book. And I will put that measurement on the screen for you as well. So now we're just gonna fold and flip, fold and flip. And I'm showing you that, and I'm scoring every other one. When I made my test book, I used 80-pound paper, and I scored every fold, but that made my pop-up portion of the book too narrow, and I figured it would probably be harder to stick stuff in there and glue things in place. So I folded every other, like Sabrina suggests in one of her videos. And then I'm folding the creases on the spine for the covers. Now I'm going to put double-sided adhesive on one of the spines, the top of one of the spines. I'm using 1/4 inch double-sided adhesive for that. And I put 2 pieces on there. And before I put the covers together, I wanted to glue some of the items onto my front cover because I just figured it would be easier to do. So I'm using this 5x7 sized frame. It goes on a 5x7 card. There's another one that comes for an A2 size card. Comes in the kit or the set. I'm using the larger one, and I cut that out of gold glitter cardstock. And then I cut out the decorative oval only from the Christmas book add-on. Now I'm going to peel the cover off of my double-sided adhesive. I'm adding some glue to that. And then you put the other spine over the adhesive and line it up just so. And I did that so that the edge of the paper, when you overlap the spines, is at the back of the book. So you can't see that when you're looking at the front cover. Now I'm taking 2 of the decorations that I'm using for the spine, which I believe were also in the Christmas add-on. And I cut that out of the same glittered cardstock. Now that has little holes in it. I left those all in. I wanted it to be a solid piece. So when you're looking at it closely, you can see the design in it, but I didn't poke those pieces out. So now we're going to put our frame together for the inside of the book. And I will show you, for some reason I didn't show you on the first part, but I will show you how they fit together when we do the next corner. And when you fit them together, it's kind of like just inserting them like a book, where you're inserting every fold into every other fold on the opposite piece. And then you want to adhere the front and back edges together. You can do every one if you want, but I honestly don't think it's worth the trouble to glue every single fold. The front and back does it just fine. And I added 2 little pieces of adhesive, 2 little pieces of double-sided adhesive, and glue to each one. So here I am sliding those together, and they fit, they slide in perfectly. It is a little bit more difficult with 100-pound cardstock to slide these pieces together than it is with the 80-pound. And Sabrina does suggest that you use a lighter cardstock, a lighter weight cardstock, but I wanted mine to be a little bit sturdier. So I just finagled it until it fit. It wasn't really that hard. So here, I'm just going to show you, just so you get the idea of how it slides together. I'm showing you every corner. But it will slide by pretty quickly. This is one of my longer videos though. I think it ends up to be like 12.5 minutes long between putting the book together and decorating it. And that's even with leaving out all the coloring and whatnot. So here I am gluing and taping the last corner together. Now you could make a frame to cover up all these edges. I'll show you how I decorate it and cover it up at the end. And I went with red and gold because I thought it was very Christmassy. And that's how it will fit inside the book. And now you can see why I made it a little bit smaller so that all the edges are inside of the book and not sticking out. So here I'm showing you the Christmas tree layering set, and it comes with some presents, a bow, a star, excuse me, and a few smaller sentiments. And I'm making sure I show you the colors here as I use them of the Catherine Pooler inks I chose. And I don't use all of these that I stamp out. I just wanted to show you how it's done. So the presents are one piece, and there's like 3 different ones. A set of 4, a set of 2, and then a single. And then there's bows to go on top as the second layer. And these all worked perfect. The star worked perfect, the presents worked perfect, the bow worked perfect. For the star, I believe I used tiara and shea butter, and it gave that perfect like yellowish gold tone for the star. Now when we get to the Christmas tree, there is a slight problem now. Sabrina redid the stamp at her own cost, and then there ended up being another problem. So the first 2 layers, the tree layers of the Christmas tree stamp, work perfect. For the decoration and ribbon layers, which is the third and fourth layer, some of the design team had to stretch the stamp. That didn't work for me. I'll show you how I did it, and it does work. It's just like an extra step for each of the last 2 layers. So here's my first layer. And I believe I used grass skirt for that and stamped it twice. And then I put on the second layer of the tree. And I believe I used Deck the Halls for this one. And stamped that twice as well. Now the third layer, this is where I'm figuring out that it doesn't really line up exactly. So what I do is I lay it down twice. First I tried stretching it and it didn't work for me. What worked better and won't destroy my stamp is lining up the bottom half and the top half. So on this one I did the top half first, and I stamped down to about the 3rd ribbon, and then I repositioned the stamp after I cleaned it off and did the bottom half. Now because of this mistake or a problem with the stamp, and because it still does work if you finagle with it, Sabrina's selling the stamp set at a discounted price and the stamp and die set at a discounted price. I don't have the die set, so I can't show you that. But I still use my images because they look really cool. And I fixed the little bit of white that you can see because I think that was my error and not stamp error. And I just added a little bit of red marker and you can't even tell. So you should check out the discounted price on the website. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I will put the links in the description box below. So to save some time, I already ink blended my background. I showed you the colors I used for that. I wanted it to look like a snowy daytime sky. Used my snow stencil from my stash and used white pigment ink to put that snow on there. And then I heat embossed it with a bright white embossing powder from Wow. Now we're going to glue that onto our pop-up panel. I'm going to glue it on the back here. I made sure it was straight, and then I put something heavy on it to make sure it stuck to my accordion panel. Now we're going to start decorating. So I'm using, I believe it's Sugar Crystal Tonic Glittered Cardstock now. That's what I cut my birch trees and my snow hills out of. Both of those are dies from my stash. I ended up putting 4 hills in, And I cut that background piece, I believe 4.5 by 6.5. So anything that I'm putting into the scene, like the snow hills, I cut at 4.5 inches so that they would tuck right inside the accordion perfectly. And now I'm showing you, I'm pulling out those hot foil letter dies from the last release so I can spell out a magical Christmas on the front of my book cover. And I also use the angel wings from the Christmas book add-on. And after I glue those angel wings to the front of the card, I'm adding the big capital letter A. And then I kind of put magical over the top of the oval and Christmas around the bottom of the oval. And then I figured before we insert anything else into the scene of the book, we better glue our book in place. So I did that, and I accidentally glued it a little too close to the spine, so watch that when you're gluing your piece in. Make sure you don't glue it too close to the spine. My book still closes, but I gotta kind of play with it to make sure it closes. So now I did do a third tree. I just stamped out the 2 layers of the tree, not the decorations, because it's in the background, and then I just colored it in with a Pear Blossom Press gold gel pen, the ribbon part. And now I'm adding my stars to the tops of the trees. And then I stamped out those double layered bows, and I'm putting one in each corner where the seams are for the book part, where we put the accordion parts together. And I'm using some fairies from the last release. So there's one in the bottom corner there in the front. And then I'm going to glue one to the back panel. And she's holding a green bow that I glued onto her hands. Well, where her hands would be. And then this one's going to stick off to the side of here, and she's holding a present. And then I put a little hedgehog in there that I colored green and red. And the little fairy in the front is also holding a present. And that's it for this video, guys. I hope you like this pop-up book. I was very intrigued by it and ended up purchasing it as my design team product because I was so interested in it. And I hope you guys enjoy it as well. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.